To address the growth issue on the island, and this is one of them. This would, as presented to y'all, I'm working with Will on that section right now to come up with a final home for it. It may move within a little bit different section. But this is essentially going to say that before you do any land disturbance activities, which is cutting trees, or removing them, or grading them and everything, that you have a site plan, a preliminary plat is approved, and you also have the construction plans approved. And then the LDA goes in. Not the way it is right now. LDA is a separate, entirely different process, and independent of the site plan and planning commission. This is.
Why wasn't we doing this before? I guess that's the question that begs to be asked.
We don't totally control this process. It comes in through us. We submit it up to the state, and then we reissue the permit. Okay, this is not in the zoning ordinance, this is in the code of ordinances. So it's not going to go through the planning commissions and everything. It's going to come straight to y'all under my proposal on the 15th. So, but this is a modification of the way it typically operates. And the way the language is, because we typically get these ordinances down from the state and we adopt the model ordinance. And this model ordinance does not have this provision in it. So.
15th to when?
October.
And a good example of this is Mariner's Landing on the island. The reason why they were allowed to clear that site is because they received a land disturbance activity permit. Okay? But they don't have the other approvals. What other approvals they still need?
We still need to sign off from water and sewer. We have EPD as of this morning, and they do not have a construction plan.
Drainage?
And drainage, because of the way the discharge is with DNR.
So theoretically, the county, for whatever reason, could not grant them those approvals. But yet, they've clear-cut the whole site, and to me, it seems like we've gotten the cart before the horse. I think it would probably be more prudent if we, as a complete package, make sure that development comply with all our rules and regulations before we allow the developer to go in on the site and just take out all the trees, do whatever. I've talked with David about this, and we think it would be in the best interest of the entire county, not just on the island, but the entire county to have meet all the requirements before we start with one phase.
Comments, questions, guys? I would suggest you move forward.
We will wrap with the council in total, right?
Item 4, which is a position, I think it's yours too.
Yes, we have a $3.5 million project that you all authorized, and the only authorization that we got was the contract amount. And as anyone knows who's built anything and everything, we occasionally hit change orders, and to do change orders on that project, which has a very short time frame to get things done in. Everyone knows, we have term dates on various parts, even on from the county and from infrastructure. It takes us essentially a month and a half to get through our change order process, because we have to go to the finance committee, get on that agenda, then we have to get on the board of commissioners agenda, and we just don't have that time frame in essentially an 8 or 9 month project to operate in. And so we would like a contingency amount. It's still going to go through the same review process. It's not going to be any shortcuts or anything. And it's still going to meet the same scrutiny, and we're not going to be willy-nilly with the dollar amounts on this thing. But we just need some items. We're going to hit something on that project, some bad soils or something that even though we have a lot of soil testing done on it, we're going to find something, because Canal Road's an old road that wasn't built to any real standards, and when we get that thing opened up, we're going to find something in there. So. We just need some cash to operate under a change order. Mr. Hours would be the controlling factor on that. on that item. And there's also, he's got a $25,000 cap, which I think might be somewhat problematic too, if we do on some soil stuff.
How much are you talking?
Well, what we would like to suggest to the board to consider is to move the authorization level from $25,000 to $100,000. So, let's say.
On this project only.
On this project only. So let's say this week, something comes up and we need to spend $30,000. Well, there are multiple contractors out there, county staff, we meet every 2 weeks. But for example, if there's bad soils, we have to go to the board. Even if we bypass the finance committee, we have to go to the board. We're waiting a lot of times in a couple of weeks, depending on where we are in the meeting cycle. So what we're seeking is authorization to make those approvals, and then to bring it back through the finance committee to formally ratify it. We think that from a contingency standpoint, just based on the project size, that you may have up to $200,000 in possible addition. We don't know that, but that's our guess, and that would be 5% of the project cost. There are two other issues as well. We had an engineer on staff who resigned 2 or 3 months ago. We are in the process of filling that position, but even if we hired a person today, it would be a month before they could get to work, and it would take them some time to get up to speed. So, and that engineer, the staff member, was going to be the field engineer on site to make sure that things are done in accordance with specs. So we need to hire a person to oversee our interest in that. There's money within David's budget. We haven't filled the budget. We haven't filled the position. And then the other item is most county contracts require the contractor to hire a third party to do the geotechnical work. So in that ditch, which is about 4 football fields long, from Canal Road to the actual canal, that's a big piece of pipe. So we need to make sure technically that soil underneath the pipe is compacted to the right specifications. So we're going to need to hire a geotechnical firm to do that work. In this situation, because we used a third-party engineer to design the specs, he wrote the specs that the county would be responsible for geotechnical engineer do geotechnical work. Due to the staff changeover, we didn't pick up on that until just recently. So we've gotten quotes for geotechnical firms, about $15,000, David?
Yes, sir.
About $15,000. So that's an additional expense we didn't anticipate. And then because we're short a staff member, we hire an outside individual on a contract basis to make sure the project is inspected and meets all the requirements. And then thirdly, we need authorization so we can keep the project moving because it's on a very tight timetable for up to $100,000 change orders, and then those will come back.
I'm sorry, is it 100 or 2?
If the board feels comfortable with authorizing up to $200,000, that's fine.
Well, it's $3.5 million, right?
$3.5 million.
So that's $175,000. 5% contingency.
We were talking about the contingency budget, but then we were also had conversation about authorizing Alan to go forward with more money than we normally would allow him to do that, so that we don't have to do special call meetings because somebody needs a $42,000 item and they can't wait 2 weeks for that. So there's 2 requests in front of the commission. Number 1 is to give him a $200,000 contingency budget, and then the second is to bump up his authorization without coming back to the commission for a vote up to $100,000.
Oh, okay.
Commissioners, if this is what y'all want to do, what we'll do from here is prepare a change to the actual ordinance that has this framework in it, bring it to you on Thursday, if you want to add it to the agenda for Thursday.
And it's only for this
It's only
project?
for this
Well,
project.
you could do it a couple different ways. You could do it only for this project, or alternatively, you could do it for projects generally, if approved on a case-by-case basis by the board. And that might be, so that way you don't have to change the ordinance every time you do that. But the board does have to vote to allow that to happen. It just gives you that flexibility at that point.
I'm sorry, I must be missing something here. The 25,000 to 100,000 you anticipate using for what?
Change orders.
What is the contingency? You put in a $200,000 contingency.
Oh, it's to cover the change order.
Yes, it's to cover, we don't know what.
Oh, I understand. But are we not?
Bill, it's kind of like having a
300.
No,
no, open charge account.
It's
I'm guarantee you.
Is the county committed contractually to a turn
25,000
time on a road
There
expansion?
was a reason for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We have.
Yes.
yes.
There's liquidated
I
damages.
I have two turn dates.
Not to us, but to the
Yeah.
contractor.
Not to us, we don't have.
To the
Oh,
contractor.
so
No, 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 no.
what's the criticality of us basically not working the change orders? That's what everybody says it's time sensitive. You're talking about it's time sensitive for the contractor?
It's time sensitive for Sam's.
Yes.
For Sam-
Yes.
Sam's.
And there are building penalty clauses for him in his contract.
For the development.
Yes.
Based on our road?
Based upon our contract with him, he has, the first phase that he has is 550 feet of the box culvert, which is a critical.
You know, the critical path is the culvert, not necessarily the road, because I don't have any question the road's going to be done within the schedule, but it's just that box culvert, because the way things are orchestrated on the site, that box culvert has to get in place first before things can be finished with the building plan. Is that right?
Yes.
What this would do is if we agree what he puts through, is that they'll have a $200,000 budget in the contingency. And then they'll have to come back for a complete new vote. We'll have to vote on this Thursday night. But again, it will allow him to exercise authorization up to $100,000 without us having a formal vote. Now, I think, and I don't know how we put that back in there, but I think he used the word ratify. All this is going to have to come out and be looked at anyway. We'll have to go back and ratify what he voted on, what he authorized, so that we're all aware of what it is that we're going to
And
do.
about once a quarter, you do that, the contingency fund anyway, so I mean, it's the same process.